Hello students, I hope you're having an amazing day. In this video, you'll be taking a full TOEFL iBT practice test. We've combined the first 4 videos in our practice test series into one comprehensive test to sharpen your skills and prepare you for test day. Good luck. You're going to be completing a full TOEFL iBT reading practice test. Just like with the actual test, you'll have 2 reading passages, and each passage will be about 700 words long. You'll have 10 questions to answer for each passage, and you'll have a total of 36 minutes to complete the entire reading practice test, which gives you about 18 minutes per passage. Now, I always recommend that you spend about 3 minutes to quickly read the passage. Don't try and memorize the passage, just get a brief overview and understanding of the passage. That gives you 15 minutes to answer the questions, which means you have about 90 seconds per question. Now, keep in mind on the actual test, you will be in control of your time, which means you can spend more or less time on each question. But for the purposes of this video, I want you to practice your timing, which means you'll have 3 minutes to read the passage and 90 seconds to answer each question. Before we get started, note that there are going to be 2 timers on your screen. The master timer, which tells you how much time you have left for the entire reading test, and then a smaller timer, which will tell you how much time you have for each slide. If you haven't already, I encourage you to watch our videos on the TOEFL iBT reading section, titled TOEFL iBT Reading Explained. It gives you all the basic details you need to know to approach the TOEFL iBT reading section. It covers the different types of reading passages, the different types of questions, timing, formatting, strategies, and tips. And if you're really serious about your preparation, I encourage you to check out our online course, Unlock the TOEFL iBT Mastering the Test. Links to all of those are in the description below. And lastly, the answers to the test with explanations for each answer are in the PDF, also in the description below. All right, students, make sure you have a piece of paper and a pencil or a Word document open so you can record your answers. Let's get started. Are you taking the TOEFL iBT soon? Then I invite you to take our course, Unlock the TOEFL iBT Mastering the Test Online Preparation Course. It's a fully online, self-paced course that comprehensively prepares you for every section of the TOEFL iBT. It has engaging readings, expert video lessons, interactive quizzes, proven strategies, hundreds of practice questions, 2 full-length online practice tests, and individualized feedback. With this course, you'll have everything you need to ace the TOEFL iBT. For more information, the link to the course page is in the description below. You'll be taking a full TOEFL iBT listening practice test. Now keep in mind, there will be 5 audio recordings, 3 academic lectures, each of them 4 to 5 minutes long, and each lecture will be followed by 6 questions. Then there are 2 university-based conversations, each of them about 2 to 3 minutes long, and followed by 5 questions per conversation. ETS says it'll take you about 36 minutes, but most students take between 40 and 55 minutes. And don't forget to take detailed notes for each lecture and each conversation. There will be a timer on your screen for each question, but keep in mind that on the actual test, you will be in control of your time. But for the purposes of this video, I want you to practice your timing so you'll have 40 seconds per question. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to check out our video series on the TOEFL iBT listening section, titled TOEFL iBT Listening Explained. It contains everything you need to approach the listening section. It covers the different types of listening passages, the different types of questions, formatting, timing, strategies, and tips. And if you're really serious about your TOEFL preparation, I encourage you to check out our course, Unlock the TOEFL iBT Mastering the Test. Links for both of those are in the description below. And lastly, if you'd like the answers with explanations to all of the questions in this test, click the link in the description below for the PDF. All right, students, make sure you have a piece of paper and a pencil or a Word document open to record your answers. Let's get started.
Good afternoon, class. As we continue our exploration of the vast world of zoology, it's time to explore one of the most interesting yet often overlooked categories of animals, invertebrates. Constituting about 97% of all known species on Earth, invertebrates range from the simplest organisms like sponges to more complex forms like octopuses. Let's begin with the most basic of invertebrates, the sponges, belonging to the phylum Porifera. These multicellular organisms lack true tissues and organs, but exhibit extraordinary abilities such as regeneration and filter feeding. Even without a nervous system, they're able to coordinate their cells to perform necessary functions, a truly remarkable feat. Following Porifera, we have the phylum Cnidaria, which includes creatures like jellyfish, corals, and sea anemones. What sets cnidarians apart is their unique stinging cells called cnidocytes, used both for capturing prey and self-defense. This phylum also shows a higher level of organization, with distinct tissues forming a simple nervous system. Next up is a highly diverse group, the phylum Mollusca, comprising snails, octopuses, clams, and many more. Mollusks exhibit a vast range of adaptations and complexity. For instance, octopuses are among the most intelligent invertebrates, capable of problem-solving and using tools, while some snails have evolved to survive in extreme environments, from deep-sea hydrothermal vents to arid deserts. Our next phylum, Arthropoda, is by far the largest, containing more than 1 million described species, including insects, spiders, and crustaceans. Arthropods are characterized by their jointed appendages and exoskeletons, which have allowed them to colonize nearly every habitat on Earth. This group also includes some of the most successful terrestrial organisms, the insects, which dominate in terms of sheer numbers. The last phylum we'll discuss today is Echinodermata, which translates to spiny skin. It includes starfish, sea urchins, and sea cucumbers. Echinoderms are unique among invertebrates for their radial symmetry as adults and their water vascular system, a hydraulic system used for locomotion, food and waste transportation, and respiration. Invertebrates offer an incredible array of adaptations and biological strategies that have allowed them to survive and thrive in nearly all environments on Earth. From the way they eat, move, reproduce, to how they interact with their environment and other organisms, invertebrates exhibit a remarkable diversity that underscores the power of evolution. For example, consider the amazing adaptability of insects, enabling them to fill almost every ecological niche, or the impressive regenerative abilities of starfish, capable of growing an entirely new organism from a single arm. How about the cephalopods, which have evolved complex brains and behaviors, including the ability to change the color and texture of their skin for communication and camouflage? Studying invertebrates also provides insights into fundamental biological processes. For instance, the fruit fly, a member of the Arthropoda phylum, has contributed immensely to our understanding of genetics and developmental biology. Similarly, cnidarians like Hydra are classic models for studying regeneration due to their astounding ability to renew their entire body from a small tissue piece. As we dive deeper into each of these invertebrate groups in our upcoming lectures, we'll focus on understanding their evolutionary histories, how they have adapted to their environments, and their roles in the broader ecological context. Remember, by studying invertebrates, we aren't just learning about 97% of the Earth's fauna. We're uncovering the basic principles of life and evolution. For example, consider the amazing adaptability of insects, enabling them to fill almost every ecological niche, or the impressive regenerative abilities of starfish, capable of growing an entirely new organism from a single arm. For example, consider the amazing adaptability of insects, enabling them to fill almost every ecological niche, or the impressive regenerative abilities of starfish, capable of growing an entirely new organism from a single arm.
Good morning, students. As we explore further into our exploration of English literature, we mustn't forget that the study of literature is not merely the study of words on a page, but an invitation to understand the society, the culture, and the human emotions that gave rise to these works. Today, we are diving into one of the most influential periods in English literature, the Victorian era. The Victorian era, named for Queen Victoria, who reigned from 1837 to 1901, was a period of dramatic change and rapid modernization. England was transforming from a rural society to an urban one, courtesy of the Industrial Revolution. This monumental shift and its ensuing social and economic effects found an enduring expression in the literature of the time. In Victorian literature, one can see the tensions between the old and the new, the rural and the urban, the poor and the rich. These tensions gave rise to a unique literary style, characterized by an intense focus on realism and a critical examination of social conditions and institutions. One of the key figures of this era is Charles Dickens, whose works vividly portray the life of urban poor and the harsh realities of the industrial city. His novel, Oliver Twist, for instance, is not just a tale of an orphan boy, but a critique of the workhouse system, the criminal underworld, and the indifference of the rich towards the poor. Through his characters and their experiences, Dickens offers a stark social commentary, which is a hallmark of Victorian literature. At the same time, the Victorian era was also marked by a fascination with the spiritual, the romantic, and the Gothic, a trend we see clearly in the works of the Bronte sisters. In Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte combines a strong narrative with an exploration of themes like gender relations, morality, and the quest for independence. Similarly, Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights presents an intense romantic and dramatic narrative while addressing aspects of class, obsession, and revenge. Another characteristic of Victorian literature is the prevalence of the serialized novel, a format that allowed authors to communicate with their readers over an extended period and reflect ongoing societal changes. It's important to remember that these works were often published chapter by chapter in periodicals, with readers eagerly waiting for the next installment. But Victorian literature was not limited to novels alone. The era saw a flourishing of poetry as well, with poets like Alfred Lord Tennyson and Robert Browning using verse to explore complex themes of morality, nature, and identity. The period was also marked by a significant focus on the form of the written word, with elaborate use of symbolism and imagery. To comprehend Victorian literature in its entirety, it's crucial to understand the historical context that significantly influenced it. For instance, the latter part of the era saw a growing skepticism and anxiety about faith and religion. This religious doubt is mirrored in many literary works of the time, creating an interesting dichotomy between the deep morality and the profound religious questioning that many pieces present. Further, the period was also marked by significant scientific advancements, including Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species. The scientific revelations challenged traditional religious beliefs and introduced a new tension between science and faith, a conflict that's visible in many works of the period. In the upcoming classes, we will delve deeper into individual works from this period, examining their style, themes, and their cultural and societal significance. We will explore how these works reflect the changing dynamics of the Victorian society and how they continue to resonate with us today. But remember, as we navigate through these profound narratives and intricate themes, literature is not a passive absorption of facts and themes. It's an active dialogue between the reader and the text, a journey of discovery that's as much about the reader's interpretation as it is about the author's intent. England was transforming from a rural society to an urban one, courtesy of the Industrial Revolution. England was transforming from a rural society to an urban one, courtesy of the Industrial Revolution. Today we're going to explore the fascinating world of physical geography, focusing on one of my favorite features, mountains. A geographical marvel and a source of endless inspiration, mountains aren't just rocky peaks jutting out of the earth. They're a rich tapestry of dynamic processes and intricate ecosystems. Let's start at the most basic level. What is a mountain? Well, there isn't a universally agreed upon definition, but generally, a mountain is a landform that rises prominently above its surroundings, characterized by steep slopes, a relatively confined summit, and considerable height. The precise definition can vary based on local interpretation and cultural importance. In fact, it's interesting how mountains are not just physical features. They often hold profound cultural and symbolic meanings across different societies. However, we're here for the physical attributes today, aren't we? So, how do mountains form? The process is called orogeny, and it's an ongoing dynamic part of our planet's life cycle. The most common process is through the movement of lithospheric plates. You know, those large pieces of Earth's crust and uppermost mantle that fit together like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Where these plates meet, incredible forces are at play. Consider what happens when two plates collide, a process we call convergence. If the plates carry continental crust, they're too buoyant to subduct or sink into the mantle. Instead, the material at the collision zone crumples and folds upward, forming mountain ranges.
The Himalayas, where we find Mount Everest, the highest peak on Earth, are a perfect example of this. Alternatively, where an oceanic plate meets a continental one, the denser oceanic plate subducts under the continental plate, melting in the mantle. This can lead to volcanic activity and the formation of mountain ranges along the continental margins. The Andes in South America are a prime example of this type of mountain formation. We can't ignore the impact of other factors in mountain formation, though. Volcanic activity itself can form mountains, such as Mount Fuji in Japan or Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. Then there's the fascinating world of block mountains, formed by faults or cracks in the Earth's crust where large areas have dropped or risen, like the Sierra Nevada in the United States. What's remarkable about mountains is that while they are a product of these large-scale geological forces, they are also highly susceptible to weathering and erosion. Water, wind, ice, they all play a role in shaping and transforming mountains over time. And that's not even getting into the role of glaciers and the dramatic landscapes they carve, but we'll save that for another lecture. Mountains also host a surprising variety of ecosystems. Despite their harsh climates, species have adapted to thrive in these environments, contributing to significant biodiversity. You have your alpine goats defying gravity on steep slopes, or the hardy conifers surviving in the thin mountain air, and let's not forget the unique, diverse flora and fauna in tropical mountain ranges. Mountains are far from the lifeless, rocky peaks they may seem from a distance. One more thing to note: the role of mountains extends beyond their physical and biological features. They also significantly influence climate, dictating patterns of precipitation and temperature. For instance, they can create a rain shadow effect, causing deserts on one side and lush green valleys on the other. As air rises over a mountain range, it cools and loses its ability to hold moisture. This is why the windward side of a mountain, that's the side the wind hits first, often receives heavy rainfall. As the now dry air descends on the leeward side, it warms up, leading to drier conditions, and thus creating the rain shadow effect. The Great Basin Desert in the United States, for example, owes its arid conditions to the rain shadow effect caused by the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Mountains, with their towering peaks and vast ridges, are not just natural wonders to be admired from a distance. They are complex systems interwoven into the fabric of our planet's ecology, geology, and climate. They stand as sentinels, bearing witness to the evolving narrative of Earth's history, and as we've learned today, their impact on our world is both profound and multifaceted. As John Muir once said, "Climb the mountains and get their good tidings. Nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees." What's remarkable about mountains is that while they are a product of these large-scale geological forces, they are also highly susceptible to weathering and erosion. What's remarkable about mountains is that while they are a product of these large-scale geological forces, they are also highly susceptible to weathering and erosion.
Excuse me, Professor. Could you please clarify what dualism is?
Of course, dualism is the view that the mind and body are fundamentally distinct kinds of substances. Descartes posited that the mind is a non-physical and immortal entity, distinct from the body. In his view, our minds are the source of rationality and consciousness, whereas our bodies are physical and mortal entities, occupying space and subject to mechanical laws.
Okay, but why did Descartes believe the mind and body are separate? Don't they interact with each other all the time?
That's a great point. Descartes understood that our minds and bodies interact. He proposed a model of causal interaction between the two. He suggested the mind affects the body by causing our limbs to move, for example, and the body affects the mind by causing sensations and perceptions.
But how can something non-physical affect something physical?
That, indeed, is the Cartesian conundrum. How can an immaterial mind cause anything in a material body and vice versa? Descartes proposed that the interaction took place in the pineal gland in the brain, but he couldn't explain how. This issue has been a long-standing problem in philosophy of mind, leading to other theories such as physicalism and idealism.
So, other philosophers don't agree with Descartes?
Yes, dualism has its critics. The physicalists, for instance, reject the concept of an immaterial mind. They argue that everything that exists is physical or can be reduced to physical entities. Then there are the idealists, who propose that everything is fundamentally mental or can be reduced to the mental.
So, if I understand correctly, the debate is about whether the mind and body are separate, or if one can be reduced to the other.
Yes, that's a good summary. However, keep in mind that there are many variations and nuances within these broad categories. Some philosophers, for instance, propose that while the mind and body are distinct, they are not separate, but rather two aspects of the same underlying reality. This position is known as dual aspect theory or neutral monism.
Wow, this is a lot to take in.
Philosophy often is, but take your time to digest these concepts. The important thing is to keep questioning and critically examining these ideas.
Thanks, Professor. I still find it hard to wrap my head around the idea that the mind and body could be separate entities. I mean, it feels like everything I think and feel is connected to my body.
That's a common intuition, and it's precisely these kinds of intuitive beliefs that philosophy challenges. But remember, it's not about finding definitive answers, but about the process of critical questioning itself. Keep engaging with these ideas, and you'll find that they will begin to resonate in interesting ways.
I will. Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. Keep asking good questions. That's what philosophy is all about. However, keep in mind that there are many variations and nuances within these broad categories. However, keep in mind that there are many variations and nuances within these broad categories.
Hi there, welcome to the Financial Aid Office. How can I help you today?
Hi, thank you. I'm a new student, and I'm trying to figure out what types of financial aid are available. I want to make sure I explore all my options.
Of course, it's great that you're being proactive about this. Financial aid generally falls into four main categories: scholarships, grants, work-study programs, and loans. Are you familiar with any of these?
A little bit, but I'd appreciate it if you could explain them in more detail.
Sure. Scholarships are awards that you don't have to pay back. They're usually based on merit, like your grades, talents, or achievements, but some are also need-based. Have you looked into any scholarships yet?
Not yet. Are there specific ones offered by the university?
Yes, we have several university scholarships, some for academic excellence and others for specific fields of study or extracurricular activities. You can find the full list on our website, and the application deadlines are posted there too.
That sounds great. What about grants?
Grants are similar to scholarships in that you don't have to pay them back, but they're usually based on financial need. If you filled out the FAFSA, you might qualify for federal grants like the Pell Grant, or even state grants depending on where you live.
I did fill out the FAFSA, but I'm not sure what I qualify for yet.
That's okay. We can review your FAFSA information together to see what grants you might be eligible for.
That would be really helpful. And work study, how does that work?
Work study is a program that allows you to work part-time, often on campus, while earning money to help with your education expenses. It's a great way to gain work experience and earn extra funds. It's need-based, so your FAFSA will determine if you qualify.
That sounds like something I'd like to try. And loans, are those my last option?
Loans should generally be your last resort since they have to be repaid with interest. Federal loans typically have lower interest rates and better repayment terms than private loans. If you decide to take out a loan, we'll walk you through the process to make sure you borrow only what you truly need.
Got it. This has been really helpful. Where should I start?
Start by reviewing your FAFSA results. Let's set up a time for that. Then, check out our website for scholarship opportunities, and if you're interested in work study, we can look at available positions together.
Perfect. Thanks so much for explaining everything. I'll follow up with my FAFSA information and check out the scholarships.
You're welcome. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have more questions. We're here to help. Good luck. Scholarships are awards that you don't have to pay back. They're usually based on merit, like your grades, talents, or achievements, but some are also need-based. Scholarships are awards that you don't have to pay back. They're usually based on merit, like your grades, talents, or achievements, but some are also need-based.
Are you taking the TOEFL iBT soon? Then I invite you to take our course, Unlock the TOEFL iBT Mastering the Test Online Preparation Course. It's a fully online, self-paced course that comprehensively prepares you for every section of the TOEFL iBT. It has engaging readings, expert video lessons, interactive quizzes, proven strategies, hundreds of practice questions, 2 full-length online practice tests, and individualized feedback. With this course, you'll have everything you need to ace the TOEFL iBT. For more information, the link to the course page is in the description below. You'll be taking a full TOEFL iBT speaking practice test. Keep in mind, there will be 4 tasks. With task 1, you'll read a question and then you'll speak. With tasks 2 and 3, you'll read a passage, listen to an audio recording, and then speak. In task 4, you'll listen to an audio recording and then speak. Pay close attention to the timer and take detailed notes during listening portions. If you haven't already, I encourage you to check out our video series on the speaking section titled TOEFL iBT Speaking Explained. It delivers everything that you need to know to approach the speaking section with confidence. It covers all 4 tasks. It covers the different types of questions, the different types of reading passages, listening passages, formatting, timing, strategies, and tips. And if you're really serious about your TOEFL preparation, I encourage you to check out our online course, Unlock the TOEFL iBT Mastering the Test. Links to both of those are in the description below. Lastly, if you'd like some sample answers and a grading rubric so you can evaluate your responses, click the link to the free PDF in the description below. All right, students, make sure you have a voice recorder ready so you can record your responses. Let's get started. You will be asked a question about a familiar topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to prepare and 45 seconds to speak. Some students prefer online classes over in-person classes. Which do you prefer and why? In this task, you will first read a brief article regarding the university's new sustainable energy initiatives. Afterwards, you'll hear 2 students discussing the same topic. Your task will be to answer a question by combining information from both the reading passage and the conversation. Once the question is presented, you'll have 30 seconds to prepare your response, followed by 60 seconds to present your answer orally. The university is embarking on sustainable energy projects. You have 45 seconds to read the following article. Begin reading now. Now listen to a conversation between two students.
I came across the university's announcement about the sustainable energy projects. It's an impressive commitment. However, I'm slightly concerned about how it might disrupt campus activities during installation.
True. The installation phase might pose some disruptions, but in the long run, it's a step in the right direction. Imagine the cost savings once these systems are up and running, not to mention the hands-on learning opportunities for our students.
Absolutely. Practical experience for students in the environmental sciences and engineering fields is invaluable, but I hope there's a comprehensive plan in place to educate the wider student body and staff about the advantages of these systems.
I share that sentiment, and I've heard whispers of upcoming workshops and seminars on sustainable energy for the entire university community. It's all about fostering a holistic appreciation of the environment and the role we play in protecting it.
That sounds promising. An informed community can maximize the benefits of such a venture. Plus, it creates an atmosphere of shared responsibility towards the environment.
Precisely. With knowledge comes empowerment, and this initiative, with the right guidance, can turn our university into a beacon for environmental stewardship.
The woman expresses her opinion on the university's announcement on sustainable energy initiatives. Explain her opinion and the reasons for having that opinion. In this task, you will read a brief passage about an academic topic and then listen to a lecture on the same subject. Afterward, you will answer a question based on the information from the reading passage and the lecture. Once you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now, read the passage about coral reefs. You have 45 seconds to read the passage. Begin reading now. Now listen to a lecture on this topic in a marine biology class.
Diving deeper into the realm of coral reefs, we encounter an intricate and mutually beneficial relationship that fuels the vitality of these ecosystems. At its core, the alliance between corals and the microscopic algae, known as zooxanthellae, plays a pivotal role. Through the process of photosynthesis, these zooxanthellae furnish corals with essential nutrients, essentially becoming the lifeline for the corals. In exchange, corals offer the algae a safe haven and a platform to access sunlight. This bond is not just for their mutual benefit, it significantly influences the vibrancy of the reef, with zooxanthellae imparting brilliant hues to corals. However, it's vital to understand the delicate nature of this relationship. Factors like rising sea temperatures can stress corals, prompting them to expel their resident algae, leading to the phenomenon known as coral bleaching. The absence of these algae renders the corals pale and jeopardizes their survival. In essence, safeguarding this symbiotic partnership is tantamount to preserving the thriving marine biodiversity nested within coral reefs.
Describe the symbiotic relationship between corals and zooxanthellae and explain its significance to the health of coral reefs and the broader marine ecosystem. In this task, you will listen to a part of a lecture from an anthropology class. After listening, you will be asked to summarize key information from the lecture. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now listen to a part of the lecture in an anthropology class.
The concept of rites of passage is a fascinating aspect of cultural anthropology. It refers to rituals and ceremonies that mark significant transitions in human life. Across diverse cultures, 3 key phases of rites of passage can be identified. The initial phase, called separation, involves individuals being removed from their familiar environment or role. This detachment signifies the beginning of their journey. An example of this is the vision quest, practiced by some Native American tribes, where young males are sent into the wilderness alone to seek spiritual guidance and visions. The next phase, transition or liminality, is a period of ambiguity where individuals are neither in their previous state nor in their upcoming one. They undergo various rituals, challenges, or teachings during this time. The Maasai of Kenya and Tanzania, for instance, have warrior initiation ceremonies where young men prove their bravery and endurance. The final phase is incorporation, marking the return of individuals to society with a new status. In many cultures, weddings serve as a rite of passage from singlehood to marital life, celebrated with elaborate ceremonies and festivities.
Explain the 3 key phases of the rites of passage, and provide examples for each phase as mentioned by the professor. you'll be taking a full TOEFL iBT writing practice test. To prep you, there'll be 2 tasks. With task 1, you'll read a passage, listen to a lecture on the same subject, and then write your essay. In task 2, you'll read an online classroom discussion board, and then write your response to the conversation. I advise that you take a screenshot of the reading in the first task because on the actual TOEFL iBT test, you are allowed to view the reading at any time while you're writing your essay. However, you do need to take detailed notes during the listening portion in the first task because you're only allowed to listen to the lecture 1 time. Keep the video playing for the whole test so you can accurately track your time. If you haven't already, I recommend that you check out our video on the writing section titled TOEFL iBT Writing Explained. It goes into detail about both of the writing tasks, as well as timing, formatting, strategies, and tips. And if you're really serious about your TOEFL preparation, check out our online course, Unlock the TOEFL iBT Mastering the Test. The links to both of those are in the description below. And if you'd like sample answers and a grading rubric for this test, download the free PDF, also in the description below. All right, students, make sure you have a Word document open and ready so you can record your answers. Let's get started. For this task, you will read a passage and then listen to a lecture on the same topic. After the lecture, you will have 20 minutes to prepare and write your response. You have 3 minutes to read the passage. Begin reading now. Now listen to a lecture on the same topic.
The subject of publicly subsidized healthcare is indeed multifaceted, and while the reading does justice to its merits, we must also weigh some practical considerations. Firstly, the idea of universal access, while noble, poses logistic challenges. Such systems often face long wait times for surgeries and other treatments, especially when resources are stretched thin. The demand often outstrips the supply, especially in critical sectors. Secondly, while the state might be in a position to negotiate prices, the reduced revenue for pharmaceutical companies and medical technology firms might, in some cases, stymie innovation. These companies often rely on the profits from the sale of their products to fund research and development. If these profits diminish, there's a potential risk to the pace of advancement in medical technology. The focus on preventative care, too, isn't without its flaws. While it's true that early detection and intervention can prevent complications, there's also a risk of overdiagnosis and overtreatment, which brings about its own set of health risks and costs. Finally, the ethical argument, though sound, doesn't automatically translate to efficiency. There are concerns about the bureaucratic nature of government-run entities and the potential for inefficiencies and delays.
This task presents an online discussion board similar to those you will encounter as a university student. You have 10 minutes to read the discussion board and respond accordingly. Are you taking the TOEFL iBT soon? Then I invite you to take our course. Unlock the TOEFL iBT Mastering the Test online preparation course. It's a fully online, self-paced course that comprehensively prepares you for every section of the TOEFL iBT. It has engaging readings, expert video lessons, interactive quizzes, proven strategies, hundreds of practice questions, 2 full-length online practice tests, and individualized feedback. With this course, you'll have everything you need to ace the TOEFL iBT. For more information, the link to the course page is in the description below. Okay, students, well done on completing that full TOEFL iBT practice test. Don't forget to download the PDF for the sample answers and the grading rubric. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and let the world be your classroom.